Hi, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology. And today, 8 tips of how to navigate Uranus transits. We are back with my planetary pep talk series, which is essentially if you see in your transit report, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm having Uranus harsh aspects to a lot of my personal planets. What does this mean? How do I navigate? Because I don't believe that the cosmos are cruel and trying to punish us. I do think that every transit, even if it's with a planet that is unpredictable as Uranus, brings a certain sort of opportunity should we choose to lean into it. And we can mitigate the more nasty shadow side of these transits if we move into this time intentionally and thoughtfully. So this video will resonate if you are currently experiencing or have a upcoming Uranus transit. Planet Uranus is making an aspect, especially conjunct, square, opposition to a lesser degree, but still important, trine or sextile to one of your personal planets: Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, or conjoining one of the angles: Ascendant, IC, Descendant, Midheaven. And if a planet is conjoining one angle, it means that it's squaring and opposing the other angle. So if you see, Uranus opposite Ascendant, that's the same thing as Uranus conjoining the Descendant. So you want to listen for sure. I've gotten a lot of questions around, well, what does it mean Uranus conjoining Jupiter? That will be more so a generational transit and not so much as personal to you. These are more so personal tips of how can you take advantage of this time and of this transit. If you wouldn't mind, if you get any tips that inspire you, that resonate, that make you excited for this upcoming transit, that give you a mental to-do around, okay, I'm not gonna do that. If you could just drop a like, comment something below, subscribe only if I've earned it, turn notifications on only if that's something that you want to do. I have all sorts of astrology videos on my page. You're welcome to filter through, but without further ado, here are the 8 tips that I recommend if you are nearing a Uranus or in a Uranus transit. So firstly, Uranus is the planet of erraticness. It is a planet of unpredictability, of instability, of change, of rebellion. So knowing how exactly Uranus transit will manifest is pretty hard to pinpoint. Uranus is the planet of ups and downs and lefts and rights and things that are sudden and unexpected. So moving into the Uranus transit, it's really important that you don't feel like you have to know exactly what happens, because part of the Uranus energy, it's exciting, it's unpredictable, it's restless. So just kind of start riding the wave to see what's upcoming. Of course, even though it's unpredictable, there are some tips that I'll recommend, which I will get into now. So tip number 1, expect the unexpected. We can't exactly pinpoint what Uranus transit will bring you in your life, and that's half of the fun. So with Uranus, you really need to let go of a certain degree of control. Control is an illusion in this life, and Uranus transits will show that, and sort of allow our lives to take different shapes, allow ourselves to laugh if things don't go exactly according to plan, allow ourselves to laugh at the bizarre incidents that occur during Uranus transits. I mean, Uranus will bring the strangest things into your life. So my first tip is just go into this transit with an open mind. See what comes up, have a good sense of humor with what comes up. Uranus transit number 2 is you can expect to feel very restless, and that's part of the energy. Like Uranus is sort of like this electrifying energy, right? And so you could find that during this Uranus transit, you just like for mine, I felt like I was vibrating with energy. I was just like, oh my gosh, there's so much that I can do. But it was really hard for me to focus and to maintain, working towards one thing. Like working towards one thing and staying really consistent, that's really great during a Saturn transit. But Uranus, you can expect to feel a little bit more restless. Whether it is trying a new exercise routine that allows you to put some energy into that, or maybe cutting back hours on work so you have time to, try something new to put your energy into. Just expect your energy levels to not feel exactly like tunnel focused towards one particular thing, and to allow different things to sort of filter into your life. Which brings me to the next point, which is invite in change. Some individuals, especially at the time of filming this, Uranus is in Taurus, and fixed signs, especially Taurus, like things a certain way, and they're not necessarily super happy when things don't go according to plan. But Uranus transits come into our lives for a purpose, and that is to invite in change into our realities. So one thing that I want you to be cognizant of is not gripping onto anything too tightly. Like with Uranus, it comes to revolutionize our life. It comes to inspire us to invite in new things into our world. So I want you to consciously take advantage of that. I want you to put yourself out there in terms of new experiences where new people can enter your life, new activities can enter your life. Like, this is not the time to cling to how your life is now. This is the time to dream at the possibilities of what it can be. Which brings me to my next tip, which is shed what feels constricting. Uranus is the energy of disruption and individuality. And there could be certain energies or avenues or people within your life that want you to freeze frame into how you were when they met you, or when you entered that relationship, or when you got that job, and not allow for the version you're transforming into. And I want you to be really cognizant during this transit of where you feel like you have put on a mask. If it's at work, if it's in your relationship, if you have to feel like you have to fake being a sort of way. And I want you to notice that. And if it's appropriate, shed what feels constricting. Shed what in your life expects you to be that version of yourself, rather than embracing the authentic version of yourself that is emerging at this time. During Uranus transits, we can't really fake the funk. There really is this call for radical authenticity, and there might be certain activities you used to love that just no longer feel resonant. Certain relationships that used to get you and see you and no longer feel resonant. And I don't want you to feel like anything's flawed with you. Like, this is the purpose of Uranus transits, is to shake up our life so that we can prioritize, the activities, the people who do see our most authentic self, who allow us to be our weird, funky, individualistic self. My next tip is ensure that you're anchoring yourself, okay? Because a lot of these tips have been like, yeah, invite in change, do all these crazy things, da 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 da. With Uranus transits, you might not get that much sleep. Okay, and Uranus, while it is the planet of brilliance, it can also be the planet of, mental erraticness, as in not seeing things very sanely. And it's very important during Uranus transits. As I mentioned, you'll feel more restless, but it's so important that you are anchoring yourself with foods that are nutritious and, that ground you, with getting enough sleep every night, even though there's this restless energy. While this is the time for change, it's not the time to think that you are a robot and don't need these particular avenues. In fact, having these routines are even more important during this time because it allows you to anchor in. And sometimes with Uranus transits, which we'll get into a little bit, people can make very erratic, very sudden decisions that disrupt their whole life. And it's not that that's bad, because as we discussed, Uranus transits are about change. But I want you to ensure that you're making those decisions from a very sane mind state, okay? And that involves taking care of your body. That involves taking care of your mind, seeking therapy when it's appropriate to talk about the big changes that you are considering, getting enough sleep so you have, a sane mind to contemplate these things. Like, so often with Uranus transits, people have a hard time sleeping, and then they're operating from this feeling of like pure hysteria, which just isn't healthy. It's not productive. My next tip is revolutionize your world. Uranus is the planet of technology. So if you've been living in outdated ways of life, Uranus transits will call for you to revolutionize, streamline. If you've just been working off of doing things by hand, maybe during Uranus transit, you finally embrace all of the wonders that technology can do, leaning into things such as automating certain tasks if you run your own business, or even if you're at, a company where they do things very outdated with Uranus transits. There's this embracing for calling in the new within our life that can streamline and automate our energy. So revolutionize your world by embracing new technologies that come up, by embracing new, trends that come up. Maybe during your Uranus transit, you want to invest some of your money into cryptocurrency, or you get more into NFTs, or whatever trend will be 2 years from now when you watch this video. With Uranus transits, it's asking us to consider a different way to do things, as well as leaning into the new technologies that are prevalent if it's appropriate. My next tip, rebel, but with a cause. Uranus is the planet of rebellion. It's about disruption. So if there are things, I mostly talk to the interpersonal level where it's like relationships that aren't working, activities that aren't working, friendships that aren't working, shedding what feels constricting. But with Uranus aspects, it could also be, wanting to rebel against a society that is outdated, that is inhumane. So with Uranus transits, you could feel a really strong call to rebel, to want to, rebel against society and its stupid rules or its injustices. But I want you to have a cause cause with it. Uranus transits, it can make us want to shake up everything because of that restlessness, just wanting stimuli, wanting something new, that we could just want to disrupt things. And I've talked to clients who have Uranus transits, they're like, yeah, I don't know why I divorced my husband and moved here. I just like suddenly wanted to. Like, Uranus transits is for change, so I don't want you to not change, but I don't want you to just rebel against your whole life because, you know, one particular area of your life wasn't flowing, or you felt bored in this particular way. It is a time to rebel against structures that feel constricting, rebel against a society that feels constricting, but have a cause for it. Don't allow it to spring out of your restlessness and boredom. Have it spring out of your desire for, you know, change within your world, change, revolutionizing, justice. And my final tip is create space for epiphanies. Uranus is, I call it like the light bulb, the light bulb planet, because it's associated with sudden insights and revelations where it's like, oh, so it could be like getting a genius idea to like invent something new, or getting a genius creative idea. With Uranus transits, Uranus is the energy of the genius. So I do want you to go into this transit creating space for epiphanies. And a lot of times that will be meditation. Again, this might be hard because, as I mentioned earlier, Uranus can make us feel very restless, you know, very hard for us to sit still. But I beg of you, please create some stillness and some space within your brain, because that's when those epiphanies can reach you, is when you create the space and the silence for them to come in. So ensuring that you are meditating if that works, that you're writing down your dreams if that's where you feel inspired, that you have a notepad wherever you go so you could write down, ooh, that would be a great invention, or ooh, that would be a great novel, or whatever it is, because we can find we're getting really off the wall, unusual inspirations into our life. Embrace your weird. Be your most authentic self. That's what Uranus transits are about. I'm so excited for you and your Uranus transit. Please let me know how it's going, or if it hasn't happened yet, what you're looking forward to about this time, what you imagine will happen, even though that's very hard, as Uranus is the planet of accept the unexpected. So I'm rooting for you all to take advantage of this time by inviting in the changes that are most authentic to the person that you are, the person that you are evolving into. May you be inspired with some brilliant genius insights that reach you during this time, and may you shed the outdated structures and relationships within your life to embrace who you are and who you are becoming. Friends, my Instagram handle is @HaleyCometAstrology. My TikTok is the same. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.